Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to Sweetwater's iOS update. This time out, a very advanced FM synth for your iPad. Let's get started. Our app today is TF7, a digital synthesizer featuring FM synthesis that offers some unique performance capabilities. The app itself is fairly simple to operate. Let's take a quick tour of what's going on here. We've got the main screen where we have control over the main parameters. They're up here. We also have an XY grid that we can use for routing to a variety of different parameters. We set those by simply clicking on them. Then you can choose whatever one you want. In this case, I've got it routed to filter resonance and filter cutoff. You can see those moving over here as I move the XY grid. We've also got our ADSR envelope here, and we've got the Chaos Arpeggiator as well. We'll come back to that in just a second. On our settings page, we have a variety of different setup capabilities. You can set the quality, so if you're running on an older iPad, you can set it so that it doesn't take up as much of the processor's power. If you have a newer iPad, you can run at high quality. You get more polyphony without using up so much of the DSP capability inside your iPad. Other settings on this page include MIDI settings for setting up an external keyboard controller if you like. We can also set up the basic controls and the way those are operating. We've got control over MIDI controller mapping, so if you have knobs on your controller, you can route that to different parameters. And then we also have a tutorial built into this page as well. On the tone page, we have control over a variety of the synthesis capabilities. So here's where we can work with our envelope generator. And we also have control over the different digital algorithms that are in here. Now, when you download TF7, it's actually a free download, and it comes with a number of different algorithms that allow you to create a wide variety of different sounds. You can also do in-app purchases of a variety of extra sounds, and there is the Chaos Arpeggiator that's also an in-app purchase. Finally, we have the effects page, and on this page, you choose whatever effects you're routing through. We have a wide variety of different effects in here. Some are familiar, some are a little bit different. We've got a delay effect, flanger, filter sweep, so on. Down here we've got a pitch shift delay, which is a unique kind of an effect, auto whammy that does pitch bending. We've got a reverse delay, so some very interesting things you can apply to your synthesizer sounds as well. Rounding out the user interface, we have the volume control and then tempo control here. Now you can adjust the tempo by clicking on the number, in which case you can increment up or down using the plus or minus buttons, or you can actually tap the tempo in as well if you like. One of the unique features in TF7 is how you can trigger sounds. Now you can use an external MIDI keyboard controller or other controller if you like, but built into the app we have these pads down here. Now these are different than, say, drum pads in a drum machine type of an app. These are used to trigger notes, and in addition to that, when you slide your finger, you can actually bend the pitch as if you had a pitch bend wheel. Now the way the pads are arranged, they go from C to C, and then on the next row up, they go from F to F. So you can play chords by simply making shapes on the pads. So for example, if we trigger an A, C, and an E, now, if you really want to get into playing with the TF7, you can expand that pad view. So we can open the grid up by sliding up like this, and now we have several octaves to work from. So again, we've got C to C, F to F, C to C, so there's some overlap there, and that allows you to play notes in the same octave simultaneously. That gives you a lot of creative possibilities. So once again, we can just make shapes, or you can play scalar runs. You can play this just like you would a keyboard with both hands on there. You can get a lot of different things happening pitch-wise. Now you can lock this in place using the little lock control up here, in which case it doesn't slide. So if you're doing pitch bending using the pads, you don't inadvertently move that down. And we have other controls here as far as the performance goes as well. We've got a key, so we can actually change what's mapped to the different pads here as far as the notes go. We can set the octave for that. We can set it to a particular scale. In this case, I've got it set to a major scale. You can choose a minor scale, harmonic minor, variety of different scales in there. And then we can add effects as well from this screen. So let's listen to some of the sounds that TF7 can make. We'll open this up. We can choose key sounds. Here's a bell sound. Familiar FM type of a sound. We also have a xylophone. Distorted keys. And we have other categories of sounds as well. We can choose rhythmic sounds. We also have percussive sounds, string sounds. Here's a percussive sound. We can choose more of a string type sound, or we'll go to pad sounds. We have lead sounds. Bass sounds. And then we also have user sounds and effect sounds. Now when you upgrade to some of the expanded sounds, for example, here we've got the expanded algorithms that you can do as an in-app purchase, you get a variety of sounds along with those as well. So there's a wide variety of sounds that are available from the factory. You can program your own sounds and save them into user banks as well. One of the powerful features of TF7 is that an in-app purchase is this Chaos Arpeggiator we have down at the bottom. And when we turn that on, it'll do normal arpeggiation kind of things. We can set that to arpeggiate on chords. But we can also randomize the activity of the arpeggiator. So lots of different capabilities there for creating very interesting sounds. And when you download the free version of TF7, it's a fully functional synthesizer, so they really haven't handicapped that in any way. You have all the capability you need to create sounds, you can play back using the pads, all those features are in there. When you upgrade to the Pro version, you do get some nice extras. You get 7 additional FM algorithms, so that gives you access to a wider range of timbres. You also get 10 new effects, and those effects give you a lot of power for shaping your sound. You also get inter-app audio, and that's very important because it allows you to route the audio from TF7 into a recording app where you can record your performances and save them for later use. If you're looking for an FM synthesizer that's easy to use, easy to program, yet has a ton of power for generating different timbres, TF7 is a great choice. You can start out with the free version and it may do everything that you need, or you can upgrade to the Pro version and do some of those in-app purchases for additional sounds and for that Chaos Arpeggiator to really get deep into what you can do with this app. Apple recently introduced iOS 8 for the iPad and the iPhone. I have had a chance to install that onto my iPad and onto my iPhone. So far I've been having good luck with it. I haven't been having any problem with any of my audio apps. I've been hearing from some people that when you run multiple apps at the same time, you may run into a few things there, but I'm also seeing that developers are updating their apps very quickly. Most of the things that I use have already been updated, and updates for the rest are on the way, so we should be in good shape with all those new features in iOS 8. I hope you've enjoyed this installment of Sweetwater's iOS Update. Be sure to tune in next time. We'll have more apps, more hardware accessories, and more tech tips on making music with your iOS devices. I'm Mitch Gallagher.